The history of temples in the world, the dawn of sacred space long before written history, early humans expressed reverence for the natural world. Hayes megalithic sites, like Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey, dated to around 9600 BCE, challenge conventional notions of primitive society. Sitters were pen this, Wadataya wonder false sign. This extraordinary structure, predating Stonehenge by thousands of years, consists of massive T-shaped pillars arranged in circles, engraved with images of animals and abstract symbols. Scholars suggest Göbekli Tepe served as a ritual center, possibly a temple, for nomadic hunter-gatherers. It proves that the impulse to create sacred architecture precedes even the agricultural revolution. In Western Europe, sites such as Stonehenge in England and Newgrange in Ireland align with solstices and celestial patterns. Though their precise purposes remain debated, these stone constructions exhibit an advanced understanding of astronomy and spiritual ritual, reinforcing the centrality of sacred space in early society. Mesopotamian ziggurats in Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the temple took the form of the ziggurat, a massive stepped structure ascending to the heavens. The ziggurat of dedicated to the moon god Nana, was one of the most impressive. These structures symbolized a cosmic mountain connecting Earth to the divine. Ziggurats were not public worship sites, but abodes for the gods, where only priests could enter. The priesthood played a crucial role, managing not just rituals but economic and political affairs. Egyptian temples, the temples of ancient Egypt, such as Karnak and Luxor, were sanctuaries dedicated to gods like Amun-Ra, Isis, and Osiris. These temples were meticulously aligned with celestial bodies, with processional avenues flanked by sphinxes, towering pylons, and sanctuaries only accessible to high priests and pharaohs. Temples functioned as centers of theocracy, economy, and astronomy. The Temple of Abu Simbel, commissioned by Ramses II, demonstrates the awe-inspiring fusion of art, architecture, and religious devotion. Indus Valley and Proto-Hindu temples, in the Indus Valley Civilization, 3300–1300 BCE, cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa reveal evidence of ritual baths and altars, hinting at proto-temple structures. While no definitive temples have been excavated, fire altars found at Kalibangan and other sites indicate religious practices aligned with later Vedic traditions. As Hinduism evolved, early shrines gave way to more permanent temple structures during the Gupta period, characterized by intricate carvings and symbolic architecture. Greek temples exemplified harmony, symmetry, and the ideal human form. The Parthenon, dedicated to Athena in Athens, stands as a pinnacle of Doric architecture. Temples served as homes of the gods, housing cult statues and treasures. They were not places for congregational worship, but for offerings, rituals, and civic pride. The sacred geometry embedded in Greek temples symbolized balance and cosmic order, influencing temple architecture for millennia. Roman temples adapted Greek forms, but emphasized grandeur and political power. The Pantheon in Rome, with its vast dome and oculus, merged divine symbolism with architectural innovation. Temples served as centers for the imperial cult, celebrating emperors as divine figures. Temples were built throughout the Roman Empire, blending local traditions with Roman engineering, thus spreading the concept of temple building across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Hindu temples in India and Southeast Asia. The development of Hindu temples reached artistic heights during the Chola and Vijayanagara periods. In the south, Dravidian temples, like the Brihadiswara temple in Tanjore, featured towering gopurams, gateways, vast courtyards, and finely sculpted deities. Northern Nagara-style temples, like those in Khajuraho, emphasized vertical spires, shikaras, and erotic carvings, symbolizing divine union. Angkor Wat, in Cambodia, represents the spread of Hindu architecture to Southeast Asia. Originally dedicated to Vishnu, this massive temple complex was designed as a microcosm of the universe, surrounded by moats symbolizing the cosmic ocean. Buddhist temples and monasteries. From the Mahabodhi temple in Bodh Gaya to the Borobudur stupa in Indonesia, Buddhist temples evolved from simple stupas, marking relics, to elaborate monastic complexes. Chinese Buddhist temples, like the Shaolin Monastery, incorporated pagodas, reflecting indigenous architectural styles. In Japan, Zen Buddhist temples emphasized simplicity, natural materials, and meditation gardens, echoing the philosophy of emptiness and impermanence. Chinese and Taoist temples. The Temple of Heaven in Beijing exemplifies Chinese temple architecture, with its triple-tiered circular altar representing heaven. Taoist temples, often nestled in natural settings, emphasize harmony with nature, incorporating feng shui principles and vibrant symbolism. These temples functioned as centers for spiritual cultivation, alchemy, and ancestor worship. Japanese Shinto shrines, such as the Easy Grand Shrine, are built from wood and thatch, reconstructed every 20 years as an act of purification and renewal. Unlike enclosed temples, Shinto shrines are integrated into nature, accessed via torii gates marking sacred thresholds. The kami spirits of Shinto are believed to dwell in natural features, like rocks, trees, and mountains, making the entire landscape a temple. Mesoamerican temples. The temples of the Maya, Aztec, and earlier civilizations were often pyramidal structures, aligned with celestial events. Chichen Itza's El Castillo has staircases that produce a shadow of a serpent during equinoxes. Temples were central to rituals involving human sacrifice, believed necessary to maintain cosmic order. The Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan and the Great Temple Temple Maya in Tenochtitlan stand as testaments to the spiritual and political power of the temple in Mesoamerican life. Inca temples. The Inca revered the sun god Inti and built temples like Coricancha in Cusco, once covered in sheets of gold. Sacred stones, huacas, mountains apus, and natural formations were considered living temples. Machu Picchu, though possibly a royal estate, also served as a spiritual retreat, aligned with solstices and cardinal directions. African temples and sacred spaces. Sub-Saharan Africa featured a rich diversity of sacred architecture. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela in Ethiopia were carved directly into the ground, representing a new Jerusalem. Yoruba shrines in West Africa were dedicated to orishas and adorned with symbolic art. In Egypt's Nubia, temples like Abu Simbel and Philae blended African and Egyptian religious traditions. Jewish temples. The first Temple of Solomon and the Second Temple in Jerusalem were the heart of Jewish worship, housing the Ark of the Covenant and serving as the site for major festivals and sacrifices. After the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, Jewish religious life shifted to synagogues, but the Temple Mount remains the most sacred site in Judaism. Christian churches. As temples, early Christians saw churches as the new temples of God. The Hagia Sophia in Constantinople, now Istanbul, was both a basilica and a symbol of divine majesty. Gothic cathedrals, like Chartres and Notre Dame, used stained glass and pointed arches to create an atmosphere of heavenly light. Churches became not only places of worship, but symbols of Christendom's cultural and political power. Islamic mosques and shrines. Though Islam rejected the concept of a temple as a house of God, mosques serve as sacred spaces for communal prayer. The Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem and the Great Mosque of Mecca represent the spiritual heart of Islam. Mosques often feature domes, minarets, and mihrabs, pointing toward Mecca. Calligraphy and geometric design replace figural imagery, emphasizing divine unity. Colonialism and temple destruction. Colonial conquests often led to the destruction, repurposing, or theft of temples and sacred art. The Parthenon was converted into a church, then a mosque, and bombarded during conflict. Angkor Wat was neglected for centuries. Many temple artifacts ended up in Western museums, leading to ongoing debates about cultural heritage and repatriation. Modern and contemporary temples. Today, temples continue to evolve. The Baha'i Lotus Temple in Delhi, made of marble petals, welcomes all faiths. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints builds temples worldwide as sacred spaces for ordinances. In Japan, some Shinto shrines are now automated. The digital age has even birthed virtual temples, online spaces for meditation and worship. Temples in pop culture and tourism. Temples today are not only spiritual sites, but global tourist attractions. Angkor Wat, Machu Picchu, the Acropolis, and Borobudur draw millions annually. Social media amplifies their visibility, but also raises concerns about commodification. Yet this visibility also fosters interfaith appreciation and cultural awareness.